In the last video, I introduced a puzzle that is keeping people miserably unhappy. It is the self-determined morality of subjectivism. To say that morals are completely up to the individual does not work. It leaves us alone and adrift. I shared C.S. Lewis's conviction that there is a universal, objective moral law. He would argue in a book called The Abolition of Man that although cultures might have different applications of the law, they all agreed on moral principles that all persons should follow. He borrows a word from the Chinese called the Tao, T-A-O, to describe this law. Here's a quote from The Abolition of Man. The Chinese also speak of a great thing, the greatest thing, called the Tao. It is nature. It is the way, the road. It is the way in which the universe goes on, the way in which things everlastingly emerge, still and tranquility into space and time. It's also the way which every man should tread in imitation of that cosmic and supercosmic progression, conforming all activities to the great exemplar. In ritual, say the Analects, it is in harmony with nature that is prized. The ancient Jews likewise praised the law as being true. This conception in all its forms, Platonic, Aristotelian, Stoic, Christian, and Oriental alike, I shall henceforth refer to, for brevity, simply as the Tao or the Tao. For Lewis and all those who believe in objective moral truth, moral value is something we have discovered, like the law of mathematics. These first principles cannot be proven. They are self-evident axioms. And recognition of these moral values is what it means to be human. Reason must move according to these truths and does not exist outside of them. To deny moral law destroys our humanity. Once Lewis discovered moral law, he bumped up against another problem. In Mere Christianity, he wrote, "Two facts are the foundation of all clear thinking about ourselves and the universe we live in. First, human beings universally recognize the law of nature, the objective moral truths of the Tao. Second, every human being breaks that moral law. This fact that as human beings we know the law, but we break the law anyway, brought C.S. Lewis to begin thinking about a lawgiver behind the law. He felt guilty about his behavior. Where did this sense of guilt come from? Before he was a Christian, Lewis thought, as many atheists do, that a cruel and unjust world was all the evidence they needed to prove that there is no God. After all, if God existed, he wouldn't allow pain and suffering. But upon further reflection, Lewis came to understand that without a supreme moral lawgiver, there would be no objective standard at all. Without objective goodness and justice, for example, how can we have any basis to call something cruel or unjust? It was that objective, universal moral reality that was pressing down upon C.S. Lewis, not his own subjective experience. It was the sense that there was a moral lawgiver out there. Lewis came to see that the moral law was not a set of arbitrary divine edicts, but an expression of God's nature. The moral law is good because God is good. I'll end with another quote from Lewis. In Mere Christianity, he shows the reasonableness of moving from the discovery of the law to the belief in a lawgiver. Human beings all over the earth have this curious idea that they ought to behave in a certain way and cannot really get rid of it. They do not, in fact, behave in that way. They know the law of nature, they break it. These two facts are the foundation of all clear thinking about ourselves and the universe we live in.